Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. As I was just reminded, we actually have to hold the microphone, so we'll retry that again. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast. The RTGAC is back, and today we're coming to you live again early at 7:40 a.m. We're starting a trend like this. If you guys did see WSJP's Instagram post just yesterday, you guys will see that this is going to be our primary time slot for a while. Unless there is a schedule change, and we will notify the audience if so. We have a lot to get into, but before we get into the breakdown, Cole, let's say what's up to the people.
How's it going, everybody? Monday morning, not in a great mood. Eagles lost. Didn't play any baseball over the weekend, so it is what it is. Luckily, we have Red October coming up.
Swim season starts today, and I'm pretty excited for it. Anyway, as we get into the breakdown of today's show, we'll be doing our weekly Eagles recap. Not going to be a good Eagles weekly recap, and as I say that, my video will come out at 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight, so make sure you guys check that out for more of a breakdown, if you want to call it. And then we will be reacting to UFC Fight Night. Not really much going on there, but we will just react a little bit to it. We'll give our UFC 307 predictions, and then back in the NFL, we'll be asking the question, how legit are the Minnesota Vikings after they have started out 4-0? Cole, he will be telling us why Texas is the only other team that can beat Georgia after Alabama barely eked out a win over them this past weekend. In the NBA, Karl Anthony-Towns, he has been traded to the New York Knicks. How will the rest of the East fare with the new big man in the Big Apple? And Cole will be giving his MLB playoff predictions. It's actually coming right down to the wire with this doubleheader today between the Mets and the Atlanta Braves. No Eagles predictions this week, as they do have a bye, but I will be giving more rants out to our viewers. And yeah, Cole, the Eagles, they lost and got demolished 33-16 yesterday. Defense looked bad, coaching looked bad, quarterback looked bad. Talk about this team.
Yeah, this was just a horrible game all around. I come home from my brother's soccer game to watch this game, and oh boy, it was horrible. Jalen Hurts, he was completely horrible the first couple drives. We had one drive in the first half that was somewhat successful. Passed for 160, one touchdown. And then he got sacked 6 times. I don't even know if I should blame the O-line or the D-line of the Buccaneers or give them credit. But, yeah, I thought this was a great game by the Bucs at least. You got to give credit where credit is due to them. Saquon, he had one solid rush. That was pretty much it. Otherwise, they held him down pretty well. Goddard was the only person who caught a ball on offense pretty much. Yeah, there's just not much happening here on the offensive side. And I get that they let up 33. The defense let up 33 points, but at some point you gotta score a little bit. But yeah, 33, you're not gonna win most games when the opponent scores 33 points unless you're the Washington Commanders, apparently. But yeah, this is just a horrible game. I'm gonna put most of the blame on Nick Sirianni. He obviously did not prepare well enough because, the Buccaneers kept laying on him, and the defense did get better in the second half there. Just a horrible first quarter defensively, and then we started to, get back into the swing of things. But this has been the trend all season. You got to be ready when you come out to play, and that's just not something that the Eagles did. 2 sacks. One from Brandon Graham and the other from Josh Sweat late in the game. But yeah, there's really no big. There was one big play we had, and it was the block punt by Isaiah Rodgers. Block kick, blocked extra point. Yeah, but that's pretty much all I got. Baker did great. Rashad White didn't help my fantasy team at all. Even though he should have done something when you score 33 points. But yeah, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Kate Otten, all very, very good for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we didn't have A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, so I am going to take a little bit of pressure off Jalen Hurts just because he didn't have his number 1 and 2 options. We virtually didn't have any wide receiver. We got to get Jahan Dotson back into the mix. And Bryce Huff, where even is this guy? He has been irrelevant in the first 4 games of the season. I mean, I get you got to get into a system, but how long is it going to take? I mean, we have a bye week next week, so you're going to have to mold into the defense at some point. I think that's a great opportunity to, solidify yourself as a starter and, get something done in practice and hopefully in a game. But yeah, I don't really have much more on this, Ryan.
Everybody knows what's coming. Everybody knows the criticisms that's going to start coming. And I talk about it tonight in my video. This is what Jalen Hurts did the entire game. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yep, my offensive line has 6 guys running at me. 5, 6. Cup of coffee, let me drink that. He's just sitting in the pocket the whole game. The man's just sitting in the pocket. Get rid of the football. This offensive line's got got half the defense running at you, and you're sitting in the pocket. What are you doing? What you waiting for your Uber Eats order or something? There was a lot of advertisements for that during the game. I don't really know what you were doing the entire game. He just sat there in the pocket the entire game, waiting for something to happen. I hate to break it to you, Jalen Hurts, but you got to get rid of the football. Now, obviously, we don't want you to throw an interception, or we don't want you to throw it while you're standing in the pocket, throw it away, and nobody's in the area. You get an intentional grounding penalty. But for God's sakes, man, you always had somebody in the flats. You always had somebody running 50 yards down the field. Thank you, Kellen Moore, for calling those type of plays. Now, on the fumble, how much could you really blame Jalen Hurts? Nobody could run their routes correctly. I mean, it took them about 5 seconds before they even looked back for the football. So how much can you really blame him there? But the entire time, he's just sitting there in the pocket. And one of the first few plays of the game, I think it was like the third play or something like that. He had all the time in the world, and I'm sitting there saying to the TV, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. What does he do? He holds on to the football. At some point, you just have to get rid of the football. Why Saquon Barkley didn't get more carries, I'm not necessarily sure. He had 10 carries for 84 yards. That's an average of 8.4 yards a carry. Obviously, that 59-yard rush helped that. But my problem is with Kellen Moore is that you got a backup tackle and Fred Johnson in there. You know that the Buccaneers don't have much tape on him. And yet, you do not run to his side because he's a pretty good run blocker. They ran through his gap on that 59-yard carry. Why is the ball not going more through him? Even after that 59-yard carry, why is the ball not going through him? Barkley had a great game. He was the second leading receiver in receiving yards. Why is he not getting the football? He's the best player on the field every time he steps on in the field. You want to argue A.J. Brown, I can see that. But, for the majority of the season, he's been the best player on the field, and he's not getting the football. What, do you get it twice in the first 3 drives? I mean, what the heck is going on here today? I mean, what did the Eagles think? They're not going to get explosive plays out of him? They got a 59-yard rush out of him that brought him into the red zone. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Receivers, I mean, they had absolutely no route tree whatsoever. Dallas Goedert was fine, 7 catches, 62 yards. How much more can you really ask out of him since the fact that we had the ball for 23 minutes out of the 60 minutes that is played in a football game, so I can't really blame him much. Everybody else did absolutely nothing. I was kind of hoping that they were going to be able to catch the ball maybe in the flats or after 5 yards and maybe break for a couple after, but that obviously didn't happen. I mean, Jahan Dotson, I was very happy that the Eagles traded for him, and next thing you know, he's looking like I don't know. Yeah, John Ross. There you go. That's a good comparison right there. Who had a good 1 catch for 6 yards? I didn't even know who. I think it was in garbage time. I didn't even know who caught it. Defensively, the problem is missed tackles. I mean, Nakobe Dean, what are you doing, man? It's either that he just couldn't catch up to the backer or he just completely whiffed the tackle. I mean, I really don't know what the heck he was doing there. It was just honestly ridiculous. And then the defensive line, I can't really blame Jalen Carter. I think going into the second half, he was double-teamed on 19 of his 28 snaps. So how much can you really blame him? So that's why I'm going to blame Jordan Davis for the millionth week in a row and say that we should have still drafted Kyle Hamilton. I'm going to say it until we get rid of him, that he has been absolutely terrible. He can't get through the A-gap. He can't use his hands. He gets tired every 20 seconds. Everybody cramped up during this game. I mean, I don't really know what happened. Everybody should have gotten in that cold tub. There should have been 53 cold tubs in the hotel room and maybe some more for the coaches, especially for Sirianni. I mean, the secondary was not that good. Slay, he got 1 pass deflection, and he gave up some really, I don't want to say easy balls, but there are some plays that he really could have made against Mike Evans that, he just was not able to do. Couldn't communicate to the guys inside that, Evans was breaking on a slant or something like that. Mitchell had an up-and-down game. He had a pass deflection. obviously made a nice play on Evans in the end zone. I break that down on my video. But there were some plays where he was giving guys like an 8-yard cushion, and then he would end up giving out like giving up like a 15-yard out or post curl, which I think is unacceptable for the and you really don't like it when you talk about the way he's been playing. He's been able to get out of his breaks really, really well. Something he needs to work on is his baseball turns. That is like he's done a really bad job with baseball turning. You saw it in the Atlanta game, and you saw it in yesterday's game. He really needs to work on those baseball turns. And then the coach. I blame this game on Hurts and Sirianni. What is your defensive game plan? I get you're giving up giving up the worst complete percentage in the NFL for quarterbacks, 57%. But you're going up against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, the most reliable receiver duo in the NFL, and you go man to man. Are you absolutely kidding me? Slay has lost some speed in the past couple of years. Mitchell is a rookie. You have nobody else. Avonte Maddox, he also needs to get out of there. I forgot about him. He needs to get out of there, and we need to put in Cooper DeJean. But getting back to Sirianni. And then you see that the Buccaneers are just throwing quick passes. Every play, it's Baker 5 yards over the middle. They take it for an extra 10. Why couldn't you just walk your corners down and have them press and have also your safeties walk down? It's clear they weren't going deep. Now, if they start to go deep, you have to have a little bit of faith in your corners that they'll be able to break it up. Now, obviously, I don't think fans would, but as a coach, you have to have a little bit of faith in them. I don't really understand what Sirianni was doing. The defensive game plan was so bad. Offensively, I don't know if you blame him or Kellen Moore, who's calling the plays. And if you have to blame the coordinators on everything, then you have to ask the question, what in God's name is Nick Sirianni doing? I know I'm fired up here at 7:40 a.m. on a Monday morning, but honestly, we need this energy because this is so ridiculous. I'll get into UFC Fight Night right now if you don't have anything left else to say about this team. And I'll start off with the co-main event, Imavov versus Brendan Allen. And, I mean, the first round was just honestly ridiculous. Allen, had ground control time for literally 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And then, other than that, it was Imavov the entire fight. He had ground control time for the majority of the second round, able to get that takedown there. And then he outstruck him. I mean, total strikes 79 to 56. Not as accurate as Brendan Allen, but he did land more strikes in there. Definitely landed more significant strikes as well. And just overall dominated the striking game. Brendan Allen really could not keep up. And yeah, this was a pretty easy call, 29-28. Obviously, you were going to give Brendan Allen that first round because of the fact that he had ground control time for the majority of it. What's next for Imavov? I mean, he's ranked number 4 in the middleweight division. I mean, I guess you can give him the loser of Robert Whitaker and Khamzat Chimaev, but I mean, Khamzat is ranked number 10 right now, or 11, whatever it is. So if you give him that fight, I mean, why would Imavov want to fight down, 10 spots or something, almost 10 spots? So I doubt he'd want to do that. So if Whitaker loses, then you might be able to give him maybe on a fight night or something like that in the main event. I don't know, because Sean Strickland's going to get the chance. I guess I can't see Duplessis getting an immediate rematch saying he loses in whenever they fight March or whatever. So I can't see that happening. And then you go on to the main event. Benoit Saint Denis, I mean, he looked terrible. He looked so bad in this fight. It was actually sad. Moicano is now talking trash on Twitter, wants to fight Dan Hooker now. Honestly, he might deserve it after that performance. I mean, Benoit Saint Denis looked so bad. His defense was what killed him the most. I mean, he looked so bad. He could not defend anything. I literally can't even analyze this because he literally just couldn't defend a punch. I mean, he was just standing there like this going, I mean, honestly, I don't understand what was going on there, but I'll turn it over to you, Cole.
Yeah, I don't have much analysis. I mean, like you said, this was a complete beatdown for the main event. And then Imavov, yeah, I mean, he won that. Yeah, minus the first round. That Allen had all that control time. I don't think it was very close. But yeah, Moicano was just beaten up on Saint Denis.
All right, we'll give our UFC 307 predictions really, really quick because we don't have too much time remaining in these segments. If I can get the card up really quick. Actually, I have it on my computer. What the heck am I talking about? Fight week, so always happy about that. Saturday is a busy day. We have the Phillies with Preps playing LaSalle. We have WWE Bad Blood. We have UFC. We have a lot going on this Saturday. Anyway, moving on. Um, on our first fight, we have Roman Dolidze versus Kevin Holland. I am going to take Kevin Holland in this fight. I do believe that Holland has seen a lot better, well, not better, but just as good of grapplers as Roman Dolidze. And I definitely think he will win on the feet. He is a lot better of a boxer, and I don't think Dolidze will be able to hold be able to handle stance switches of Kevin Holland in this fight. If Holland wants to keep this fight on the feet, I think he will be able to. If he wants to take this one to the ground, it might be a bit closer, but I can see him taking this one by a third round submission because I think he will want to go to the ground as his takedown defense has been a lot better in his last couple of fights. And that obviously his offense has been great because he got that first round submission in his last fight. So yeah, I think he's going to get a third round submission. If he keeps this one on the feet, then I think he'll take this one by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Kevin Holland, but I'm gonna take him by a third round knockout. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's gonna be more of a stand up fight for some reason. But yeah.
Next fight, Ketlin Vieira versus Kayla Harrison. This one is just so obvious. Kayla Harrison is going to make quick work of this of Ketlin Vieira. She's a decent fighter, but she is not on the level of Kayla Harrison, who made quick work of Holly Holm in her last fight, and now this girl really just has no chance. I feel bad that she's getting this. She better be getting paid extra for getting in the ring with Kayla Harrison, as she is just a beast. I honestly just think that this is just a warm-up fight for Kayla Harrison, and she'll probably call out the winner for. Well, this fight's not happening before Pena versus Pennington, but she'll probably call out the winner of whoever wins that fight. And yeah, this is just a warm-up fight. I expect her to get this by a first-round submission. This Vieira has no chance.
Yeah, I agree. This is completely lopsided. I am gonna take first round submission by Harrison as well.
All right, in our bantamweight fight, Jose Aldo versus Mario Bautista. I mean, to be honest, who really cares about this fight? I mean, Jose Aldo's just trying to get out of his contract. I'm not taking him to win. I'm going to take Bautista by unanimous decision. I just think because Aldo doesn't have any hunger, he wants to get out of his contract. He wants to go boxing, so he's just racking up these fights. I think he has like one fight after this. So yeah, he doesn't really care that much. Bautista, though, he has the cardio. I don't think Aldo will have to keep up with it. Aldo definitely has legendary striking, but Bautista, he has a really great is a really good grappler, and I don't think Aldo's going to be able to handle that. So yeah, I'm going to take Bautista by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm gonna take Bautista by split decision. I feel like Aldo still has some left in the tank, and yeah, I just think it'll be split.
Our women's bantamweight championship fight. I mean, once again, I don't think really too many people care about this fight. Obviously, Raquel Pennington is one of the worst champions we have in the UFC right now. She's been impressive in pretty much all her fights. It's just I mean, the bantamweight division is just so lacking of depth. I mean, I can't see really anybody getting hyped for this fight. And nobody really likes Pena or Pennington. I don't mind Juliana Pena, but people don't really like her that much. I'm going to take Pennington by unanimous decision in this fight. I don't expect this one to be that great. If Pena does take the first two rounds, I don't think anybody should be too surprised. But as this fight gets into the later stages, I think Pennington will start to take over. I think her cardio is better. She definitely has way better grappling, and I think Pena's going to want to try to. She might not want to try to keep this one on the feet, but she might want to try to keep it if she wins one of the first few rounds. And if Pennington tries to go to the ground, she's definitely going to get frustrated, which is what I think Pennington does want to do in this fight. I don't really think that this fight means much, as I think this fight is just a feeder to Kayla Harrison, because I have no doubt that she'll win her fight, and whoever wins this one is going to get probably demolished by Kayla Harrison. So yeah, I'll take Pennington by unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same thing. I say Pennington's gonna win this, retain the belt, and then Kayla Harris is gonna come for the belt. Yeah, I don't see this one being very, very close. Like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if Pena takes a couple rounds, but like you said, again, I think Pennington has better stamina, and I'll take her. I'll take her actually by split decision.
Alrighty, and then our main event, Alex Tom Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. Now, everybody knows Khalil Roundtree does not deserve this fight at all, and he is not a wrestler. He is not Magomed Ankalaev, so he is not a wrestler, and the UFC is just feeding Alex Pereira non-wrestlers, and that means that Alex Pereira is going to get another knockout win. I expect in the second round, kind of the same thing would happen with Yuri Prochazka. I expect it to be early in the second round, and Pereira just one of the best strikers and kickboxers to ever step in the UFC ring, and I expect him to make quick work of Khalil Rountree.
Agreed. This fight will not go to the ground, like Ryan said, and because it won't go to the ground, Alex Pereira is gonna get another knockout. I got it in the third round. But yeah, I mean, it could go anywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks him out in the first round.
Alrighty, now we move on from our UFC predictions. And we will get into some college football now. We are obviously not the D1 Yappers podcast. That's on Tuesdays at 2 to 2:40. Or actually, they took our old slot. They're trying to be the CR7 Podcast. Maybe we'll put a poll on the Instagram. But nonetheless, what do you call it? We're talking about Texas and Georgia. Now, Georgia, they lost their game against Alabama on a failed comeback. They lost 41 to 34. And now, Cole, you have down why Texas is now the only team that can beat Georgia after Bama just beat them. Why can Texas beat Georgia?
All right, here's the thing, Ryan. So here's my S tier of college football teams. It's Alabama, Texas, and Georgia. You can throw in Ohio State or Tennessee. Yeah, but I just won't put them up there. I got Alabama, Texas, and Georgia, my top 3 slots. And here's the thing. Alabama goes up, I believe it was 28-0 in this game. So here's the thing. You go up 28-0, you're like, oh my gosh, this game is over. Georgia's done. Kirby Smart, he can't defend Alabama. So yeah, that's partially true. But Carson Beck showed resilience. That whole Georgia team showed resilience against Alabama. They came back, and they nearly won this game if it wasn't for the true freshman Ryan Williams for Alabama. And now I think Alabama's scared to play Georgia. This is a Georgia team that took Alabama down to the wire after being down 28-0 in the first quarter. I would be scared to play Georgia as well because that game just proved it's not over till it's over. They will never back down. They just showed so much resilience, so much power. And now I only believe that Texas is the only team that can beat Georgia right now. Even though, you go out of that game and you're like, all right, so if we take out the first quarter, we blow this Alabama team out because, after that they held Alabama, to a Ryan Williams touchdown and a couple of field goal, or maybe a touchdown and a field goal, but I forget. But anyways, nonetheless, this is similar to the prep Cleveland game up in Ohio. You take out that first quarter and you're like, oh my gosh, we're the better team. So I have Georgia. I have Texas at 1, Georgia at 2, Alabama at 3, even though Alabama just beat Georgia. I understand the rankings change, but in my book, I believe that Georgia is still better. And if they verse Alabama in the playoffs, it's going to be a whole different scenario.
You can't put Georgia over Alabama. Not after they just beat them. Not after you have a Jalen Milroe performance with almost 400 yards of passing on 33 attempts when Carson Beck threw it 50 times and just crossed 400 yards. I don't think you cannot put Georgia over Alabama after they just won. But this was the Jalen Milroe game. He played sensational. Then you take in this Ryan Williams guy. This guy, he can't even. I saw something on YouTube or Twitter. He can't even buy a pack of cigarettes, but he's smoking everybody. He played absolutely sensational. 6 catches for 177 yards and a touchdown. Where do you see that at? Literally nobody else did anything in this game. This C.J. Dupree or whatever his name is, he had 4 catches for 38 yards. And then you obviously have the defense who, they played good and played great in the first half, but then in the second half, Georgia just came out guns a-blazing. I feel like this Trevor Etienne has to be a lot better. He was supposed to be a very big prospect in the transfer portal, and he has not been that great at all. He's been decent, but he's got to find the end zone a bit more. He's averaging 5.9 yards a carry, but he's got to find the end zone. But yeah, great game. I don't know. I don't know. Do you think you could say Jalen Milroe is now number one in the Heisman race? Because I think you could.
So going into this game, I did have Alabama winning, and I said Jalen Moreau will be the Heisman frontrunner by the end of this week, and that was correct. But I still have Georgia being the better team. I know you have a problem with that, but if there's a rematch, I can't see Georgia not winning.
Here's the thing about that. That is an if. That's a very, very big if. You have to talk about what has happened. You can't base the rankings off what you think is going to happen. So right now, it's Bama. I think the rankings actually are fine right now. If I go into it, it's what is it? Bama, Texas, Georgia, or Ohio State and Georgia, right? Really, Tennessee is number 4? Gee, I did not even know that. I guess I could see that. Yeah, what did they moved up. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Oregon's a good team too. I really like Oregon. Dylan Gabriel's something else. And then Notre Dame's moving up. Come on now. But nonetheless, yeah, we're not gonna. Our team is something. Mr. Riley Leonard. All right, I'm gonna stop thinking about Deuce Knight, our 4-star commit. Anyway, we'll move on now to the NFL. Now, the Minnesota Vikings, they are a team in the news now. Barring anything from tonight's game, I think they're the number 2 team in the NFL. You could argue that they're number 1 with the Kansas City Chiefs. They have played really great. I mean, I think right now, the Chiefs have not played great, but they also haven't lost, which is why I think I'm going to continue to put them at number 1. And their defense has been really good too. All right.
The Chiefs are 3 plays away from being 1-3. So that's all I'm going to say. Refs bail them out basically every time, even they got a ring out of it. But anyways.
But anyway, getting back to the Vikings, is Sam Darnold the leader for MVP? I mean, who else could you put there? Josh Allen just got I had Josh Allen number 1, and then he got demolished by Lamar Jackson last night. Could you put Lamar Jackson number 1? I don't think so. They're 2-2 right now. So could you really put them at number 1? Could you really put Lamar Jackson at number 1? Patrick Mahomes has not played well enough to be the MVP at all. I mean, who else is there? I really don't know anybody else, right? I mean, can you think of another quarterback or player that has played as well as Sam Darnold right now? Sam Darnold, I think, is the leader for MVP as we speak. Jaden Daniels will be Rookie of the Year. I feel like I have to see more. I think strength of schedule is something you have to take in consideration as well, because he beat up on the Cardinals, who aren't that good of a team, and the Bengals only wins over the Panthers, so you can't really. And it was a close game as well, with film on Andy Dalton this week. So I don't know if you could say that. If he can beat, now they play Baltimore in a few weeks, I believe, right? Yeah, they play Baltimore in 2 weeks. So if they win that one, then you could definitely say Jaden Daniels is the leader for MVP. But I think Sam Darnold is the leader for MVP. I mean, he threw for 3 touchdowns in this game. I mean, did you see that 3rd touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson? Now, my only problem with Sam Darnold is that he hasn't done this before, because I keep having faith in Jalen Hurts on fantasy, and I have Sam Darnold on my bench for this week, which is terrible. And I put in Jalen Hurts, who, you know what he did? Absolutely nothing. Anyway, so you had the Vikings. I mean, how could you not say they're legit at this point? They're the best team in the NFC. I mean, they obviously beat up on the Giants. You beat a decently healthy 49ers team. You absolutely crushed the Houston Texans, who are a really good team. And then you put up 31 on a very good Packers defense. Obviously, Jair Alexander, I believe he got injured during that game, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. But you got the Jets next week, who, well, I mean, that's not much. You got the Lions, Rams, Colts, Jaguars, Titans. I mean, the Vikings can just continue to beat up on some of these teams. And they could fly under the radar, and then when they get into the playoffs, they could be a second seed, a first seed possibly. I mean, where do you really see them losing? Can you see them losing to the Rams without Kupp and Nakua? I'm not sure. Can you see them losing to the Jets after their performance? I don't think so. The Lions, we'll have to see what they do tonight against Seattle. The Colts, are they going to be without Anthony Richardson? Jacksonville looks terrible. Tennessee is not that good. Chicago's not that good. Arizona's not that good. The Falcons are decent. So how much the Vikings really have an easy schedule, and it's really looking hard for them to lose games here because of how well Sam Darnold is playing. I think we really have to start talking about the Vikings. The defense is legit. Obviously, they lost Danielle Hunter. They replaced him with this Greenland, and they're playing absolutely incredible on that side of the ball. Sam Darnold is making every single throw that you can think of. Justin Jefferson is back. Justin Jefferson's playing great. He made a really nice catch off that really great throw. Jordan Addison's back. I mean, he is just taking ankles with him. Aaron Jones is playing well. You have this Ty Chandler. You have a two running back system. The O-line is good. I mean, can you not tell me that the Vikings are not the best team in the NFC right now?
I can't, Ryan. And I didn't think I'd be saying this. I do think that they are the best team in the NFC. I do think the Lions are the only team that would challenge them. I would take the Lions over them right now. But, yeah, we will see what they do tonight. But I still, depending on the night, they might be the best team in the NFC. But, yeah, I like that take, Ryan.
All right, we'll move on next. We'll actually save the ML. Actually, let's get into MLB playoff predictions. So, the MLB playoffs are starting off in just a couple of days now, and it's coming down to the wire. So the rules for this is, as Cole gets his stuff up, I'll kill some time here. There's a doubleheader today between the Braves and the Mets. Now, if both teams split, if it's a split series, both teams get in. But if one team takes two, so say like the Mets take two, then they would be in, and then also the Diamondbacks will be in, and then vice versa. If the Braves take both games, then the Braves would be in, and as well as the Diamondbacks. So, Cole, give your predictions for today's doubleheader, and then give your predictions for the playoffs.
So I'm going to have the Mets as the 5 seed and the D-backs as the 6 seed. All right, so I'll start off with the AL. I'm going to go with I'll take it's difficult. I think I'm going to take Baltimore just because they have Corbin Burns, and I think that's automatic for the first game, and then you can manufacture some runs in that second or third game, and they can eke out a win. I think I'll take Baltimore in 3, and they're going to take on the Yankees in the ALDS. Then Houston, Detroit. I'm going to take Detroit here. A lot of people are going to be mad at me for this, but I don't care. Tarek Skubal's way too good, and like I said, Baltimore, Detroit, they all have a number 1 starting pitcher. I believe those are the 2 top pitchers in the AL right at this current moment in time, and I think that they can eke out a secondary win after that dominant performance by Skubal and Burns. So I'm going to take Detroit to go take on the Guardians in the ALDS. Moving on to the NL wild card, I'm going to take the San Diego Padres over the New York Mets. I'm going to take a sweep. There's no guarantees in that Mets starting rotation. When you get in the playoffs, that's a huge thing. Manaea, Blackburn, I mean, it's just not enough. There's no obvious win here. So I'm going to take the San Diego Padres. Then moving on, Brewers, Diamondbacks. I understand you want to take the Diamondbacks, but I'm going to take the Brewers. I mean, I think this is a pretty obvious pick. They've been playing, solid as of late. So I'm going to take them. I'll take them in 3, though. I do think it'll come down to the wire. Yeah. Moving on to the ALDS, I got Baltimore, New York. I'm going to take New York in 5. I don't think this is going to be close. You get 1 win with Corbin Burns on the mound, but like you said, you don't have much more depth after that. Your bullpen isn't that great. I'm going to take Yankees going into the ALCS. Then you got Detroit, Cleveland. I'm going to take Cleveland in 6. I do think this one's going to be closer just because Cleveland lost Shane Bieber early in the season. They have found people to fill those holes in the starting rotation. But, again, Cleveland has a great offense. I think it's, one of the best in the AL. Other than the Yankees, I mean, you could see anyone up there with them. So I'm going to take Cleveland, Yankees, ALCS. Moving on to the NLDS, you got Padres, LA. I'm going to take LA in a sweep. I don't think this is going to be close at all. I think Otani's a force to be reckoned with. That Dodgers rotation is solid. They found holes, fill the gaps. Tyler Glasnow's been incredible. Philly, Milwaukee. I'm taking Philly in 5. They're going to have home field advantage. It's not even going to be close. Milwaukee might get one game in at home, but, I'm just going to take Philly in 5. Then ALCS, Yankees, Cleveland. I'm taking the Yankees in 7. And then NLCS, Dodgers, Phillies. I'm taking the Phillies in 7. World Series, Phillies, Yankees, Phillies in 6. I got Phillies winning the World Series over the New York Yankees in 6. Ryan, any changes to this list?
Because we don't have too much time, I will do a video on this. I don't even know when. When do the playoffs start? Wednesday? We'll probably have a video Wednesday out then. So yeah, I'll give it Guardians over the Yankees in the ALCS. I can't see the Phillies doing it. I can't see them beating the Dodgers. I know it's gonna ruffle some feathers. I can't see them beating the Dodgers. The Dodgers are just the Dodgers. They're buying the championship. Then I have the Dodgers beating the Guardians in the World Series. I can't see the Phillies beating the Dodgers. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I'm sad. I'm sad to say it. Dodgers over the Guardians. Anyway, we'll get into what's up. Yeah, really, really quick. With Karl Anthony-Towns here getting traded to the New York Knicks for Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle and a future first-round pick that's top 13 protected by the Detroit Pistons. Just really, really quick about this stuff. I think it's a very good trade for the New York Knicks. Obviously, Karl Anthony-Towns going to fill that center spot. I am going to be interested to see him playing with Jalen Brunson. He's going to be using the pick and rolls. He's going to play more down low. I'd like to see him more play down low because of the fact that he there's so many guys that are going to be playing on the perimeter. You have Bridges, you have Brunson, you have Hart. OG Anunoby can play on the perimeter as well. Thank God he's not going to be coming off the bench. He's getting paid $212 million. So I wouldn't want to see him coming off the bench. But I think Cat should play down low. He still can average 19 and 9 down there. So I think he should play down there. For the Timberwolves, this just tells me that they're going all in on Anthony Edwards. They want him to have the ball. They want him to be that first option. I think it's going to be important to have Mike Conley in the beginning of the season because of the fact that you're going to need a veteran point guard like him to help with the offense. Because for almost 10 years, they've had Karl Anthony-Towns in the offense. They're going to need someone like him. Anything on this, Cole?
Yeah, I'll just say this is a great trade for the Timberwolves. I don't like that they're going all in on Rudy Gobert, but, it is what it is. All in on Anthony Edwards, and, you got to get to the finals at one point.
All right, enough about that. Let's get into the Ryan's Rants as we are going to close out today's show for our first topic, Cole.
Jose Alvarado's agent.
All right, Jose Alvarado, you need a new agent, man. This guy has been so good for the New Orleans Pelicans, and he's getting paid $4 million, 2-year, $9 million contract. I think I could get paid more than $9 million just to talk. I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? How the heck are you going to get paid $9 million over the next 2 years after everything you've contributed? Herbert Jones has gotten paid like $48 million. How is Jose Alvarado only getting $9 million? You got to get rid of your agent, man.
Next topic, Bama almost blew it.
You're Alabama, right? You shouldn't be blowing leads. Now, I understand Jalen Milroe really came back in the end, and I understand it's Georgia, but you're supposed to reign supreme over the SEC, and you almost blow that lead? Are you kidding me? That should not be happening. You played great in the first half, and then Jalen Milroe pretty much played great for the entire game. How do you almost blow it? Yeah, what are you doing if you're the defense? I mean, you cannot do that. I mean, all they were doing was throwing the football. You're telling me you couldn't just drop everybody in coverage and only rush 4 or 3? Ridiculous.
And our final Ryan's Rants, Slay's tweet.
What is there? So Darius Slay said that he's, he had a great career, and we should not be talking about him because he's had such a great career. Is his 6 Pro Bowls going to get a stop on 3rd down? I mean, I don't really know what he was doing with the tweet. I understand that he apologized, and I appreciate that, but you can't be going on Twitter talking about your 6 Pro Bowls and how bad you're playing right now. And he's not playing terrible, but he's not playing that good either. He's got to be playing better, and don't be going on Twitter complaining about it after you didn't play that well. Anyway, That'll do for the latest edition of the CR7 Podcast, guys. Committed to the grind. Officially starts this Friday. Olin Chamberlain, our very first guest. We'll have some great questions for him, and I'm sure he will have some great answers to that about the upcoming season and whatnot. And, yeah, that'll do it. We'll see you later.